Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the HTC One S for T-Mobile. Now, it's been a while since we checked out a high-end offering for T-Mobile's lineup, but this guy aims to break that. It's basically the latest and greatest from HTC's camp. It's squished in between the HTC One X and the HTC One V, so it's classified as an upper mid-range device, but it's still pretty sweet just because it boasts one killer-looking design and features Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich and also Sense 4.0. So let's find out if this is going to be worth your money. Essentially, T-Mobile's version is the same exact things we saw with the European version, except for the obvious T-Mobile branding right on top there. But everything else is exactly the same. Supports one killer industrial design, very sexy and sleek. You could tell in comparison here with an iPhone 4S, it's thinner than it, and we're happy to see that it's solidly built all around. It uses some premium choice materials. They really didn't skimp out on this guy, and also maintains that nice thin profile. It features a anodized aluminum unibody construction, so it gives it a really clean look, and on top of that, it just feels good and looks good everywhere you look at it. Even though it's not quite as compelling when compared to the display on the HTC One X, we're fairly content with the one here on the HTC One S. It's a 4.3-inch QHD Super AMOLED panel, so that's 540 by 960 pixels. It does utilize the pentile matrix arrangement, which some people, might not like, but honestly, it still produced some nice-looking details. But you could tell easily that it is a pentile matrix arrangement by just looking at the icons at the top here where the clock is. Besides that, you're still able to make out some fine text, good details. We didn't have too much of an issue with it, and see that it is a Super AMOLED panel. It produces those rich, saturated colors that our eyes really adore. Some wide viewing angles, high contrast look, and definitely does stand out. Unlike the Galaxy Nexus, where its on-screen Android buttons are integrated with the platform itself, the HTC One S opts to use separate capacitor buttons. Luckily, though, they're spaced far away from another, so we didn't have any accidental presses. Meanwhile, above display, we have these micro dots lining the top for the earpiece grill, and right next to it, you have the front-facing VGA camera. Unfortunately, we don't like the flat feel, the volume control, and even the dedicated power button. It makes it a little bit difficult to feel out, but luckily it makes it up by offering a decent tactile response. So around the handset, we also find things like the 3.5mm headset jack, the noise cancellation microphone, micro USB port for data, charging connectivity, and also video out functionality with the aid of an MHL adapter. And you also have the regular mic at the bottom. In the rear, you can tell that the 8-megapixel autofocus camera juts out just a little bit from the surrounding area. It has a blue accent to it. It features backside illumination and also an f2.0 lens, and you also have an LED flash. So these microdots here converge together to form the speakerphone grill, and you can tell here with the branding, it offers Beats audio, so you get better, more robust audio tones with it. And on the top here, if you remove the top cover, it's a plastic cover, you gain access to the micro SIM card slot. Unfortunately, no way to expand its internal memory. It only comes with 16 gigabytes of storage and no access to the battery. T-Mobile customers will surely appreciate the fact that the HTC One S is the carrier's first Sense 4.0 powered device and also provides for the most up-to-date Android experience in Ice Cream Sandwich. So if you've used the Sense device before, you'll fit in right away just because it mainly builds upon the foundations of previous versions of Sense. You have all the widgets, a lot of animations and 3D eye candy littered throughout its interface. For the most part, they kind of cleaned up. They now offer the dock down here where you could change the different icons here. So right now it's set so that you could access the camera, the phone dialer, the messages and emails, but you can move them around, change it up, whatever you want. And of course, seeing that this is a Sense device, it offers a wealth of personalization. You can change the various scenes, skins, wallpapers, a variety of stuff, and also the useful lock screen, so it's still a wonderful experience. Even though it's not regarded as the highest end model in the HTC One family, the HTC One S is still pretty fast on its own. It's powered by a dual-core 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor, and it's coupled with 1 GB of RAM, and it translates to a really fast, peppy experience. It doesn't slow down any bit, even with a live wallpaper, something a little bit more graphically intensive. Even other basic tasks, opening up applications, it maintains that great responsiveness, and all in all, it's pretty fast. We're not going to go into great detail about the Sense 4.0 experience because we've covered already in our review of the HTC One X, and you can even check out our hands-on video with the Sense 4.0 interface itself. But as a whole, just to quickly recap it, you still have all the wonderful things about it, all the different types of widgets here, from the mail one to the smaller ones here for friend stream, so you get your social networking fix. You have a lot of access to different stuff directly from the home screen. And as far as third-party applications are concerned, different. There's a lot of bloatware. You got the usual T-Mobile stuff going on there. You have things like HTC Hub, you have T-Mobile Mall, T-Mobile TV, stuff like that. And as far as other third-party applications, you get things like Zenio, you have the Polaris Office, Slacker, Lookout Security, and Amazon. We like the fact that it has a 4.3-inch display, so for typing out messages, it should prove to be a great experience. But to tell you the truth, there's one annoyance that we have, and that's just the directional buttons right here at the bottom. We just find that it's probably irrelevant to be there. On top of that, we find it to be a little bit annoying just because they kind of get in the way and take up precious space. But besides that, you get a really good responsive rate, so it keeps up with our rate of input. On top of that, you have this swipe-like gestures going on, so if you want to do that, you have that as well. And you have also quick access to some punctuations and even numbers directly from the main layout. Seeing that this guy is going to T-Mobile, it theoretically has the ability to get data speeds up to 42 megabits per second, but in our real-world usage, we managed to get approximately the average 6 megabits per second down and 3 megabits per second up, so it loads up our page here fairly quickly, less than 25 seconds normally. And as far as the web browsing experience, it's decent. One of the weird things about it is that it has this flickering thing going on as you're resizing or pinch zooming, so that could get in the way. But besides that, it loads up the pages like we find on a regular desktop. It also has flash support and doesn't really stutter. One of the standouts about the HTC One S is the fact that it has support for Beats Audio, so when you use Beats Audio enabled headphones, you do get those rich, robust tones, so you get a really great, rich experience with that. As far as the music player, nothing really different or stellar about its presentation. Pretty conventional by today's standards, no 3D visuals or anything like that. As you're playing the song, you have your album cover, the on-screen controls, that's about it. And as far as the audio quality, it's a little bit on the weak side, doesn't really sound too powerful. When it comes to watching videos, the HTC One S handles pretty much all the videos we threw at it. For example, the video we have here is encoded in DivX 1920 by 1080 resolution. You could tell no slowdown or lag, lots of rich and sharp looking details, and seeing that it is a Super AMOLED panel, it delivers those punchy looking colors that really captures our attention. And it's even able to play other videos that are encoded in MPEG-4, H.264, and even XVID. If you're big at taking photos, you'll truly appreciate the wealth of offerings found with the HTC One S, just because it just has a lot of stuff. For example, a variety of different scene modes. You have HDR, panoramic shots, landscape close-up, low lighting. You have even slow motion video. And the cool thing is with the on-screen shutter key, if you hold it down, it does burst mode, so it'll take a consecutive amount of shots until you let go. And from there, you could choose the best one afterwards. And on top of that, you have the ability to shoot. You actually have the ability to shoot 1080p videos and simultaneously taking snapshots at the same time. For all the talk surrounding its 8-megapixel autofocus camera, which features an f2.0 lens and backside illumination, we're a little bit underwhelmed with the results. Now don't get us wrong, it still takes some pleasant looking shots outdoors with plenty of sunlight, but it's flawed in some ways. For example, overall it tends to look a little bit over sharpened with its details and doesn't handle macro shots that well. It just seems like the handset has difficulty in focusing in on images that are very close to it, and in low lighting conditions, details tend to be on the grainy side, though the LED flash does a good job illuminating scenery. It's good, but not a home run. Likewise, we could say the same thing about its 1080p video recording. It's not stellar, but decent enough for most usage. It's nice that we're able to shoot videos, 1080p videos, and also take photos at the same time. It does offer also image stabilization, but it's marred by some artifacting when you pan very quickly. It's quite evident at that point. And it kind of slows down with its frame rate indoors under low lighting conditions, and its details tend to be a little bit on the soft side. Call quality with the HTC One S, it's a win, just because on both ends of the line, voices are clear, distinctive, and quite audible. But when you switch to using the speakerphone, however, it's rather weak in tone, so it makes it a little bit difficult to hear our callers. Testing out the handset, we didn't experience any drop calls during our time using it, and for the most part, it managed to maintain a solid connection to the network. Despite having no access whatsoever to the battery just because it's unremovable, we're still content with the battery life with the handset. After fully charging it, we're able to get at least one solid day out of normal usage. Actually, by the end of the night, it was still left at 10% mark, so it's quite average by today's standards. So there's no argument that T-Mobile customers are going to get a beauty in the form of the HTC One S. It's just a magnificent device in many ways. We truly adore its unibody anodized aluminum design. It's just something to behold on its own. It looks good in render shots, but in real life, it's just wonderful to hold on to. It just feels nice, looks clean, and just radiates a beauty that's unmatched in many ways. But we question its $200 on contract price, because at that point, it's going to compete against the HTC Evo 4 GLT on Sprint's lineup, which we know is going to sport the same $200 on contract price, and that device is a version of the HTC One X, which is a device deemed as the higher end model in the HTC One family. So it's a toss up. You get more features, better specs with the HTC One X series. But this guy here, if you could overlook pricing, you prefer something a little bit more compact and one sexy looking design, you definitely appreciate the HTC One S, especially when it has the same HTC Sense 4.0 experience. It performs magnificently, it doesn't really slow down, and it still has all the set of features, and it's all packaged in this nice looking body. So if you'd like to learn more about the HTC One S, guys, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. As always, thanks for watching.